What does Johnny Depp really do when the cameras stop rolling? You'd probably think he disappears into some secret mansion far away from the crowd, right? Some big old castle with high gates, maybe even bodyguards keeping everyone away. That's what most people imagine. After all, he's one of the most famous actors in the world, one of the most mysterious, too. But that's not the whole truth. Not even close. Hi. Thanks for joining me here today. Let me ask you this, have you ever sat there, scrolling through your phone, and wondered what it's actually like to see a star like Johnny Depp just living? Not acting. Not on a red carpet. Not giving an interview. Just being himself. Walking down a street. Sitting at a table. Laughing with friends. We all have our own picture of Johnny, don't we? Some people think he's quiet and private, almost shy. Others imagine him as this wild rock star, full of energy and drama. But what's the real story? Well, tonight, I want to take you behind the scenes of one of Johnny Depp's unforgettable London nights out. It's a story not many people know. You're going to hear about the little moments most fans missed. You'll see the charming surprises he left behind and hear a few quirky stories even die-hard Depp fans might have never heard. Sound good? Stay with me, I promise you'll see Johnny like you've never seen him before. Okay, so let's set the scene, shall we? It's a cool evening in London. You know that kind of air that feels crisp on your skin? Where you can see your breath if you stop to notice? The kind of evening where the city feels alive but calm all at once. The streets are buzzing with people, business folks finishing late dinners, tourists holding maps, locals clutching takeaway bags. Black cabs hum by, their lights glowing in the dusk. Double-decker buses roll past, packed with tired commuters staring out the windows. And then, there he is. Johnny Depp. He steps out of a sleek black car parked just outside an exclusive club tucked away in Mayfair. He moves slowly, unhurried, almost like he's in his own little world. Even in a city as stylish as London, he somehow manages to stand out, but not in a loud way. More like, effortless. That's the word that comes to mind. Effortless. He's wearing a dark, fitted jacket. You can see those famous vintage rings glinting as he adjusts his hat. That hat pulled just low enough to give him a little air of mystery. And then there's that little smile, soft, private, like he's in on a secret nobody else knows. People around him stop dead in their tracks. They freeze for just a second. Whispering starts right away. You can hear it. Is that really him? One woman asks her friend. Phones come out in a flash. The glow of screens lights up faces as everyone tries to sneak a picture, as if they can't quite believe who they're looking at. But yes. It's him. And here's the first thing you notice about him. He doesn't just rush inside the club, brushing everyone off like some big star in a hurry. No. He stops. He takes a moment. He smiles at people. Signs a few autographs. Even makes a little joke to a fan who's clearly too nervous to say much. He didn't have to do that. He could have kept walking. But he didn't. That simple, quiet kindness. That sets the tone for the entire night. After a few minutes outside, he finally heads in. And even the way he moves, it's cool. It's graceful. Like he's gliding rather than walking. There's no big security team shoving people aside. No loud, make way, orders. He just moves calmly through the door, into the warm glow of the club's lights, leaving behind this little ripple of excitement on the sidewalk. People stay there for a few seconds longer, staring at the door, just hoping he might come back out. Inside, the vibe is totally different. It's warm. Cozy. The kind of place regulars know each other by name. The lights are low and golden, flickering softly against dark wooden walls. From the corner stage, a jazz trio plays something slow and beautiful. You can hear the faint clink of glasses, the low hum of conversation. And there's Johnny. Led to a private table in the corner, just far enough to give him some privacy, but still with a perfect view of the room. He sits with just a few close friends. No huge entourage. No loud table full of people clamoring for attention. Just 2, maybe 3 people who he clearly trusts. They lean in when they talk. They laugh quietly. And when the waiter comes by, Johnny orders something special, a bourbon cocktail the bartender says they actually named after him. He smiles at the thought, gives a little nod. And when it's time to pay? Of course he tips big. Nobody even has to ask. For a while, he just sits back. Watching. Talking. Listening to the music. You'd think maybe that's all he came for, just a quiet night out. But Johnny's not really the kind of guy who just sits and watches forever. At some point, the band takes a break. They step off the stage for a moment. And that's when Johnny stands up. Nobody expected it. He walks over, picks up a guitar resting on its stand, not even his own, and just starts playing. At first, the whole room falls quiet. People almost don't know how to react. But then, those bluesy chords start filling the air. Simple. Soulful. And suddenly, the whole place is alive. People smile. They clap. They pull out their phones to record little clips. Can you imagine being there for that? Now here's something you might not expect. You've probably heard people say Johnny's standoffish. That he avoids people. But everyone in that club that night told the same story. He was kind. He was funny. He even joked with the staff, thanked the waiters, waved at fans peeking through the doorway. That whole idea that he's cold? Completely a myth. And if you ever find yourself in London, hoping for a moment like this, here are a few things to keep in mind. First, stay cool. Celebrities, especially someone like Johnny, really appreciate it when fans respect their space. If you want an autograph or even a quick photo, wait for the right moment. Don't shove a camera in their face while they're eating. You know what I mean. And here's a little insider tip. If you want to catch that kind of vibe, the kind of place Johnny likes, try restaurants or bars that feature live blues or jazz. He's not the only artist drawn to those spots. And if you're on a budget, go early. Before 9 p.m., most of these places are way cheaper, way quieter, and you still get to soak in all that atmosphere. Moments like these really make you stop and think about something important. Johnny Depp isn't just a movie star. He's not just Captain Jack Sparrow with his mischievous grin and slurred words. He's not just Edward Scissorhands with his quiet, haunted eyes and delicate hands that can create beauty and yet destroy it at the same time. He's so much more than the characters he's played. When you watch him on nights like this, you start to see the man behind all those masks. You realize he's a musician at heart, someone who feels most alive when he's holding a guitar and letting the music speak for him. Every note he plays seems to carry a little piece of his soul, a little story he hasn't told out loud but wants you to feel. There's something almost childlike in how he enjoys it, how his face softens and his eyes light up when the crowd responds. But he's also a storyteller, and not just in the way you might think. Sure, he tells stories through movies and through the songs he plays. But he also tells them in smaller ways, in the way he pauses to sign an autograph, cracks a quiet joke, or listens intently to someone even when he doesn't have to. There's a rhythm to how he moves through the world, like he's always weaving another little story without anyone even noticing. And maybe, most of all, he's just a man who genuinely enjoys connecting with people, even if only for a few minutes. He doesn't seem to care about being worshipped or treated like some unreachable icon. He just wants to share a little of himself, make someone smile, and feel, if only briefly, like part of something bigger than himself on an ordinary London night. That's who he really is. Now let me ask you something. Be honest. If you bumped into Johnny Depp on a London street, just you and him, what would you say? Would you freeze? Would you try to play it cool? Would you blurt out that you've been a fan since forever? I'd really love to hear your answer. So go ahead, leave it in the comments. I'm sure there are some amazing stories waiting to be told. And hey, if you enjoyed this little peek behind the scenes, there's another video you absolutely don't want to miss. We've got a full look at Johnny's private guitar collection, rare and unseen instruments that tell his story in a way the movies never could. If you liked hanging out here tonight, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And ring the little bell so you don't miss the next story. There's plenty more where this came from. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing this moment. And remember, sometimes the best stories aren't the ones splashed across the headlines. They're the quiet ones. The kind you only see when nobody's watching. So keep your eyes open. You never know who you might spot on your own night out. See you next time.